This is Sean with Voices Live On. I'm here with Judy and Dan Hoyt. And Judy, your father was essentially one of the main founders of the AUL building. Is that right?
Absolutely, he was.
And Dan, you worked for the organization for a long time as well. Is that right?
I was a salesman.
You're a salesman. Okay. So what is your father's name?
Jack Reich.
And there's a room dedicated to him upstairs. Is that right?
Correct.
In the Skyline Club?
Correct.
So one of the goals of this is to be able to get the history of the members from their mouth and also people's memories of them. So you'd be able to kind of tell, how it started, how he was involved. We're going to touch on a few different things. How did he get involved with the organization, and how did he get involved with the project of building the building itself?
Well, originally the building was where Ivy Tech is. And when they decided they wanted to build a new building, people just really wanted them to go out by the pyramids. But my dad was certain that he wanted to go downtown, kind of help revitalize the downtown. And he was known for that he really was one of the beginning people that really revitalized.
And what was his wife's name?
Jean.
Jean?
His name was Jean.
So what was kind of his business history? What was his experience kind of leading up in his career to that point?
Well, he was with the State Chamber of Commerce, the chairman of the board there. And then he left there and went to the water company for just a few years. I can't remember, 4 or 5 maybe. And then he went to be the CEO and board of directors of American United at that point.
Okay. And I originally met your family from school and scouts back in the day, and I'm almost 48, and they're coming up on their 40-year anniversary for the Skyline Club and for the building itself.
Right.
So that would put that back in 83.
Okay.
Right? And 36 floors, number one. There's been a lot of people that have been involved in like helping the business grow. But, Dan, one of the things you'd mentioned before was that it was kind of the who's who of people in business of Indianapolis that were the members. Would that be a good way to assess it as far as the people that were?
Absolutely. Originally, the Athletic Club and the Columbia Club were the places where the business community broke bread together and came up with ideas and did an awful lot of things. And then when the Skyline Club was established at the top of the AUL building, it became kind of a center attraction as a third leg of this civic community. And many ideas were born there, and the town then took a whole new phase of growth. After that, other buildings began to grow, and it was a hub after the two first ones, Athletic Club and Columbia Club.
So I was a member of the Athletic Club, and then obviously there was the Columbia Club. I always heard that it was kind of Democrat Republican. Right. Would that be kind of safe to say? A little bit the more Democrats on the Athletic Club side than on the Columbia Club side?
Exactly. That was Republican side.
So here's my question. You've got two major, scenarios, major groups. So you've got two different major groups politically. Then you've got a new place that people from both sides can congregate. Was that kind of the idea, in fact, to make a neutral scenario?
In many cases, the people had to buy another membership because they had their home base, Athletic Club or Columbia Club, but they all wanted to be a part of, many of them wanted to be a part of the Skyline Club. So it became a melding pot for the other two memberships.
So to recruit out the gate, how did they really start to entice political or business influential individuals to become members?
It was the first new enterprise that was high end for Indianapolis in years. So it attracted them by novelty, just the fact, and we had pretty good food. And Latour's had also been a nice eating place at the top of what was the Indiana National Bank, but it didn't stay going. A Skyline Club kind of took over that clientele, as I recall.
Now, when it got completed, your father was very influential in getting the Skyline Club created.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So give us a little bit of that backstory of why he wanted that to be the spot on top.
Well, he just was so proud of the building and devoted years to that coming to fruition. And he just wanted to have a nice restaurant on the top. And my mom and dad went to several different places, states, and to decide exactly how they wanted to do it and what company they went with. Is that enough?
Yeah.
And I would say one of the biggest drawing points too was the view. The view from
being looking down the circle. It's one of my favorite views in the city.
Right. And there was not any restaurant that had that kind of a view. But my dad just devoted his life for several years to that building and the Skyline Club.
So as it started to grow in the early 80s, what are some of your memories of, some events that happened there at the beginning, some like key fun moments, and maybe some business get-togethers of these influential people got together and they decided this new solution for the city, like events and people really networking in business. What are some of those things you remember from the beginning?
Well, I would suppose my top one was when my parents had their 50th wedding anniversary at the Skyline Club. And then certainly another one was our whole family and my sister and Simler's whole family. We would go there for Easter. And it was really special to all be there together. And then we always go there as a family before Christmas, maybe a few days before Christmas. And that was always very special.
4th of July's? Fireworks?
Yeah, we did. We didn't necessarily do that as a whole family, but we all went, and it was wonderful. So Skyline, because my dad just was an important part of our life. I can remember the first time I went there when it had just opened, and I had dinner or lunch with my dad, and it was just almost emotional to see it and see him sitting there. He always sat in the same table, the same chair.
Yeah. And so that one thing that your daughter mentioned to me that she remembers going down there putting a hard hat on when it was getting built.
Right.
So what are some of are there any stories with the building being built that should be mentioned?
The Reich spike is what it was kind of referred to by many. Because when you build a building like that, you put steel up first. Well, you can see through it, so it doesn't look nearly as big as it does when you put the facade on, the limestone as it was. And so that was everybody's attention was drawn to the building because there was only two other tall buildings in town, the City County building and the Indiana National Bank building. There wasn't anything else tall.
Right.
And this was 36 stories plus.
Do you have an idea how many people would work in the building? Like, what was the total populace of just employees for all the companies?
Ice Miller had how many floors?
10 or 12 floors.
Do you think there was 1,000 people? Do you think there?
Oh, probably 2,000.
2,000.
Oh no, AUL had about 1,000.
How many floors did AUL have?
12.
12. AUL had 12.
So who are some of the kind of influential people you remember being involved with the Skyline Club over the years or visiting? I know you mentioned possibly Trump, or like who are some of the key people you remember coming for events or being involved in membership?
Well, the short story of that is I had had breast cancer and started chemotherapy and lost all my hair. And a buddy of mine, Jim Shanahan, who was the senior vice president for pensions at AUL, and I had lunch upstairs at the Skyline Club. And lo and behold, we're sitting right next to the window that looks out onto the Hilbert Theater. And Steve Hilbert and Donald Trump come walking around the corner. Steve just wanted to show off his building, the symphony, to Trump. So they came over and they stood right next to me. And I said to my partner, Jim, I said, Jim, I think he's going to give me a kiss. I already had a red lips kiss on my forehead. And I was so disappointed. People all around us were laughing like mad. And he looked at it, and then they walked it back out. But I mean,
And
so,
what year do you think that was?
pardon me?
Was that in the 80s, 90s,
What,
or
90s? Gosh, I can't even think when it
probably
would
in the
have been.
90s?
Just about.
And you mentioned as far as a couple left-hand and right-hand men
That'd
to
have been
Jack.
it'd have been the spring of '99.
Spring of
When it would have
99.
been, yeah.
Okay. And Harry Ice, founder of Ice Miller.
Uh-huh.
Well, one of, and then you said Don Wood was also another.
Right.
Key-
He was a doctor. Mhm.
So who are some of the other key people that really helped it go in and expand the membership for the Skyline?
Well, Frank McKinney
Frank
was
McKinney?
a big
Oh,
one. Frank McKinney Sr.
all the big names in town were members of the Skyline Club and had their lunches and had people come meet them at the Skyline Club for lunch. And of course, you'd get gosh, I can't even think of names right now, but there are all kinds of them. That was the center place, except for the other two clubs, which were losing memberships. Frankly,
What's some of your favorite memories being up there?
I
Like with the
ate,
kids, or
I ate breakfast there every morning.
Yeah?
Watching the towers fall.
Pardon me?
Watching the towers.
9/11?
Mm-hmm.
Jack Snyder and I had breakfast there the morning of what was the date?
September.
11.
Yeah.
And we sat there and watched the second plane go into the second tower.
Wow.
We were the only ones in the dining room. We'd had a late breakfast, and Jack was at Ice Miller, and my closest friend, really, in many ways. And we watched it, and then I came home and laid on a couch and watched the whole day, watched the rest unfold. It was just such a disaster.
Wow.
But that was a big moment.
Right.
And
What about some moments with your family? You've got, how many kids do you have?
9.
9 kids.
Mhm.
So what's some of the favorite moments of bringing the family down there with you?
well, we cleaned out the bar of beer for several years. I suppose I shouldn't say that, but they did, and we just had a ball. We would go up there, and everybody, all the kids dressed in suits, and man, we howled.
Mhm. Well, and we had a special, I can't remember, not that many years ago, that we were able to take our family plus several of the grandchildren. And their memory of that, we have a picture of that. And that was so special. And we sat in the Jack Reich room. Then I had my grandchildren of St. Agnes Academy, which is now closed, and we had our 50th high school reunion there. And that was really special.
What was your go-to foods? What did you consistently order? Dinner time things, breakfast time things. What were your favorite things to eat?
My dad would always say, "Okay, I'm going to look at the menu, and and then I said, I'll have a cheeseburger." I mean, he never had anything else, but he'd always kind of look at the field. Mine was that one salad. I can't even think of it. But, oh my gosh.
What about yourself, Dan? What was your normal breakfast?
I just really pigged out. I mean,
was
they
a
had a
buffet.
beautiful buffet, and
Okay.
I ate very well at breakfast time. And I ate there most every, and it was free. They always did breakfast free.
For employees in the building, or for
No, for
Members.
members.
For members.
And so that's how I started my days. I sure wanted to get out of the house. Judy's running all these kids around, and so I'd go to work.
How often do you still get down there?
Never.
Not very often.
Not as
anymore,
often as
since
you used to.
Stan's retired, and
Yeah.
we don't go too much.
Right.
But one of our sons, our oldest son, Davy, whenever he goes out of town or something, he always says, when I drive on 69 north, he says, I always look at that building and think of my dad. The kids are all the grandkids called him Ging, G-I-N-G. We have no idea where it came from. And another story about my dad, as everybody probably knows, the AUL building flies an American flag. And my dad was the first one to put that up.
Wow.
He didn't tell my mom till it was over, because here he is on top of the building, but but he put that first flag up.
That's amazing.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, there weren't any other flags on top of buildings. Jack's got us started.
wow. So since we're coming up on the 40-year anniversary, do you think it's going to be neat to be able to hear the other stories from the other members and the history from everybody's kind of perspectives?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think so too. If those walls could talk, a
Right.
lot went on there.
Right. And was there anything else you'd like to add about your father and just his involvement, or anything you'd just like to say to honor him?
Well, my dad would literally walk around the building, and if he saw something out of place, he would fix it, or he'd call somebody. I mean, he just was such a perfectionist and walked around talking to people, but looking at if there was any problems.
And what did you love about him?
I think that's a good description of him, other than his huge fountain of wisdom. He was a strong character as far as wisdom goes, and honesty and integrity. But I suppose that one of the things that he represented best was Christmas Day, or right before Christmas. He took the day off and he stood in the building and greeted all the employees and handed out hams and
He went around
hams.
and shook everybody's hand.
Everybody's hand. He would go around to the floors and shake the hands of all the people. I suppose he shook 1,000 hands that day.
Wow.
He did that every year. It was a tradition. And people here, we have 3 other people from AUL who have retired that live right in this immediate area, and they all remember that.
Mhm.
That's beautiful.
So he loved people, and he was a good listener. And I would say he really honored Jerry as the predecessor. Me, I was kind of the wild guy, and so. But it was really a wonderful relationship for all of us.
And you said you still know the current GM?
No, you don't know.
Jeff.
Jeff.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jeff. I can't think of Jeff's last name. It's just escaping me. But
Mhm.
yeah, he's been there and for
Long
years. Long time now.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Well, anything else you like to add?
another memory, the man that played the piano was there right from the beginning, and he knew what my mom's favorite song was. And every time my parents walked in, he'd play Hello, Dolly for my mom.
And Dr. Zhivago.
And yeah, Dr. Zhivago, right. He'd play those
That's
two
beautiful.
songs.
Steve Ali, and he owns the Jazz Kitchen here at 54th and College.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything you should like to add before we close out?
Nope, I think we got a wonderful idea here.
Well, I hope that
Yeah.
we could expand it, and realistically, if we could at least get 40 different perspectives for the
yeah.
40th, I mean, I think that would be a great goal.
No problem.
Yeah.
That would be
But the bigger thing is this could be a way also for the members to showcase their career accomplishments
right.
as well as their memories of the club.
Mhm.
So everybody can kind of learn what people have done as well as hear those memories and those stories of the past.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
Super.
do you want me to the table my dad sat at was in the kind of the far corner, and he always sat in the same chair that he could look out and see the whole club, because he liked to be seeing who was doing what and who was coming and was everything going okay. He always sat in that same chair.
And you'd walk into the entrance of the Skyline Club, and people would look that way because they knew he'd be there and wait, because he ate there most every day.
Wow. That's beautiful. Do you remember what one of his favorite things that he'd have?
Cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers.
Oh, right.
That was it.
And
Okay.
maybe my dad got the Horatio, how do you say that?
Horatio Alger.
Alger Award, and award for being self-made, and he certainly was a self-made man.
That's beautiful. Well, to honor your father, and hopefully we can save a lot of the memories of the members,
Right. Mhm.
and honor some members that are gone
Right.
from other members too.
Right.
That's a good
Mhm.
point. All right. Well, thank you for your time, and I'm going to close this one out.
Yeah, there
Thank
would
you.
really